Welcome back, everyone. This is Dirt, and I am back with the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have moved past all the guns, and I am starting on Oz kits. I'm starting with Hyperion, but before I really dig into these, I love what the pre-sequel did with Oz kits. I think this is a big move forward. In fact, Gearbox has really made big improvements in this Relic slot. In the first game, you had just elemental ones, and they only leveled up, I think, like 4 or 5 times in the game. And they would just attach an element to your action skill. It was cool at the time, but looking back, it's really boring and limited compared to what we've seen. And then in Borderlands 2, you got Relics, which I think were way cooler and really increased what you could do with that weapon slot. Or gear slot, I guess. Then in the pre-sequel, we got Oz kits that not only have the form of relics, but on top of that, they actually affect our stats and of our oxygen and slam damage, which is also cool. And then there's a ton of interesting effects with them. Now you could make an argument that there's more interesting effects on relics than Oz kits, and I can definitely see that argument. But if you take away all the DLC relics that there was less of in the pre-sequel, I think that's less of an argument. That being said, let's dig into Oz kits because they're pretty cool. Now, one more thing, it's just that I would dig in. Not all these are based on another Oz kit, and I'm going to get into that in this video. Maybe save that. I'll do that at some point. So let's just start with the Eddie. The Eddie is probably the best Oz kit in the game. It's probably too good, but it just does everything. It's freaking ridiculous. So first off, it has 200 is about as high as your O2 capacity gets. So it's high O2 capacity. It adds to your shield capacity, which is kind of a big deal. And it adds a flat number, which, you know, percentage-based flat numbers can be debated, but it's a help to shield capacity, which is awesome. It gives you additional laser damage, and if you like lasers, 35 is nothing to kind of ignore. I'll use the mining laser, so I'm going to quick unequip this. Let's shoot him. So 85, 341. No. 105k. So that's very significant. That's nothing to shake your head at, is getting another 35% damage. It is additive, but it's good damage. Air control is always cool. It just gives you better control while you're in air. And then max slam damage is pretty standard. Now, what makes this excellent is the beep, boop, beep. The experimental sentient AI module occasionally performs repairs on your shield and life support systems during combat, and sometimes drops a care package when you when you kill enemies, and then also very protective of its owner. So what does all that mean? The Eddie will occasionally restore your shield and health during combat. I don't exactly know what triggers it, but it can be kind of random. Let's see if he'll kick in. I don't know if he'll do this without actually fighting enemies, but there's a chance during this it'll beep at me and fill things up. So occasionally you'll just get free shield recharge and free health back. Also, if enemies get close and hit you, you'll get a shock tether on them. They're not guaranteed, but there's a chance at it. Let's see if I can hurt myself and get it to heal me. Really? Good job, grenades. Quasar might be too much. Let's just go with regular grenades. No, my shield's too fast. So anyways, there's plenty of videos out there of me with the Eddie where you can see him in action. But the shock taser's really cool. It's just some free DPS. But it's really the defensive abilities of it. And what's cool about that is in Borderlands 2, everyone pretty much ran around with a bone for the offensive capabilities. But in Borderlands the pre-sequel, most of the time you see people with Eddies for defensive capabilities. So I'd rather see an OP defensive relic slot or Oz kit than an offensive one. I think that's pretty sweet. But the Eddie is good offensively too, especially if you are using lasers. The free taser is good, so like on Athena, that taser gives you Maelstrom stacks, and it's boosted by your Maelstrom. If you're using lasers, you know, especially with a bulwark as well, you can really increase your laser damage quite a bit between those two. The air control is kind of a free added bonus, but also shield capacity as well. And then the care package, while the money doesn't scale well, kind of like Borderlands 2 with like Pot of Gold and stuff, the amount of money you get from it isn't important. But with Jack, he's got this skill called Money is Power. Every time you pick up money, you get a stack of it, and you get more damage. Well, the Eddie's money counts for that, so it'll help you stack Money is Power faster. The synergies just go incredibly well, and it's just got this insane balance of both offense and defense, and it does so much. It's really kind of ridiculous how good the Eddie is, but more importantly, it's hilarious. It's kind of like R2-D2 with its beeps. So it's funny, it's powerful, it's good, it's unique, it's creative. God, it's so many things, and that's... Although, you know, I don't love overpowered gear a lot of times, the Eddie is hard to deny just because it's so creative and so good in so many ways. So it's one of my favorite pieces of gear maybe that they've ever created, because it hits on so many good levels. So next up we have the support relay, and I kind of love and hate this. Unlike the Eddie, it is actually based on another Oz kit, which is cool. I like that because I think the base Oz kits are really awesome, and I wish they would do more of doing red text based off of your natural ones, and you know, maybe do some crazy things like the Eddie. Like, you could have done the Eddie and based it more off one, kind of change it up a little bit and still make it awesome. But the support relay, you have compared it to a Tranquility. Now, you're going to notice it's based off of a Meteor. That I don't like. In fact, it drives me nuts. Like, why do that? Why not just have the support relay the same brand as it's made out of? I will never understand this. That being said, you have less O2 capacity and less gun damage per O2, so why is this legendary? Well, it's a legendary because you get more O2 by 25 for each character that has one of these on, and then you get less consumption rate for every player that has them equipped, so you go through less O2. So eventually, if you have 3 players all wearing this, it does more than a Tranquility. Now at 2 players, because of the reduced rate, it has a chance to be done slightly better, but about equal. If you have 4 players, it's way better. The problem is I wish it was just flat out better at 2 players instead of at 3, because it's hard to convince 3 people to have these, and maybe they don't have them, then you have to have an extra one to kind of give people, and that just kind of creates problems. If at 2 it was better, I think that would be a much better legendary. Also, it's a pain in the ass to get. So you get this from side quests where you have to collect like 50 white guns and turn them in, and then I think every 10 guns you have to do another fetch quest for it. And it's super annoying of a quest. And the reward really isn't worth it. But if you do get 4 players wearing these, it's kind of fun. So I think cool idea. I think they missed it on the execution slightly. I think the quest is a pain in the ass to get it. And the fact that it's not the same brand as the Oz kit it's based off of is really annoying. So yeah, that's the support relay.
Which one of you is...
The next one is the Freedom. And the Freedom is kind of weird, again. It's not based off anything. So your base Hyperion ones have, here's a Precision Strike, Acrobat, and yeah, those 2. and neither one of these are the same, which is too bad.
What do we got
Now
here?
this one, what it does is you have kind of a medium to lower capacity, but your air boost costs less to boost. You get more damage while you're airborne. So it can be kind of cool. So actually I should shoot him on the ground first. Wait for the dot to go off. So 52, 64. So you get a boost while you're in air. So if you're spending a lot of time jumping around in air, it's cool because you're using less O2 and you get extra damage while you're in air, but it's just kind of okay. It's nothing special, and the boost isn't that big, and there's a lot of times you're not in air, but there's a lot of times you are, so it's alright. Nothing wrong with it. It's a mission reward you get really early in the game, so I don't expect it to be awesome. It's not really an end game one, but early on in the game, getting one in each playthrough is not a bad thing to get.
It's like choosing between
Now, here's where I'm a little disappointed. The base 2 Oz kits for Hyperion, the Precision Strike, which you get more weapon accuracy and critical hit while you're airborne. It's kind of like the Freedom, but that critical hit bonus is big at 74. And that increased weapon accuracy is really cool too, especially if you're doing things like shotguns, as I will demonstrate with the flare here. I wish I had a less accurate shotgun to maybe show you. But let's put this on so you see the size of this. And that's a big accuracy increase. So this thing can get you a lot of extra damage. And that's really cool. Now, it would have been really interesting to get a red text version of this. And that's where I wish we did. The red text could be, after you hit a critical hit, you get some bonus gun damage and really crank the damage up on it. There's a lot they could have done to add a red text to something this cool. And then secondly, you have your Acrobat, which is kind of your melee one, which is better than the melee relic in Borderlands 2. So this one gives you more air control, which is actually really important if you're doing melee. I don't know if you can tell by my moving around here. Whoops. So, yeah, I kind of need to have one on. This doesn't have air control, does it? But you basically, it's hard to demonstrate the air control. But the air control really helps in melee because you're spending a lot of time in air, especially if you're Athena. The speed boost is really nice after you butt slam, and if you're doing melee, a lot of times you will be doing, kind of butt slams and then chasing enemies as they're knocked back. The airborne melee damage is pretty cool, and it's a pretty big boost at 80%. So it does quite a bit, and it's actually really nice for melee playstyle. But a red text one, again, would have been really sweet. And there's a lot you can do with this for red text, again. Melee likes lifesteal, so maybe a small lifesteal on it. Maybe something to do with roid damage. I don't know. There's so many different options, and I really wish they would have done that. And I hope that they stay in the direction of OzKit. So Borderlands 3 probably not going to be so much OzKits, but I hope they just kind of make them rocket pack kits. And we still have boosting, but you can kind of boost everywhere instead of just in low gravity. You'll have fuel and slam damage again. I think that would be really sweet. And these O2 kits or fuel kits or whatever they do, I hope they treat them more like guns in that way. And kind of base them off of these, because there's a lot of cool ideas, and I'll be talking about that as I go through and do the rest of them. I'll kind of be covering if they're compared or not compared, and what I wish we would have done. I know it's a little different from some of my Good, the Bad, and the Uglies, but I think it's pertinent here Because, man, I would have loved a red text precision strike. It would have been so cool. Maybe after a kill, you get the bonus as well on the ground or something, but so much potential there where we kind of missed out. But there are really cool red text Oz kits in this game, and I think in general these are better than most red text relics we got. In Borderlands 2, there wasn't a lot of red text relics, and a lot of them were quite dull. So the fact that we have things like the Eddy, huge improvement over Borderlands 2 in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think of Oz kits, where they went right, where they went wrong, especially these Hyperion ones. And that's it. I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Bye.